It was 3 in the night and I was starving. Not the polite kind of hungry you get before lunch, but that deep, gnawing emptiness that makes you angry. I threw off the blanket and walked to the kitchen in the dark. I didn't bother turning on the light. I knew where everything was. The fridge hummed quietly as I opened it and pulled out the package of ground beef. That's when I heard it. A whisper, coming from the sink. It was soft at first, like dry leaves scraping against concrete. I froze and listened. The whisper grew louder, more insistent. It wasn't English, it wasn't any language I had ever heard. The sounds were wet and wrong, like someone trying to speak with a mouth full of mud. I should have been afraid. Any normal person would have been afraid. But I wasn't. I was annoyed. I was tired. I was hungry. And this stupid whisper from my drain was ruining my mood. I decided to ignore it. I walked to the counter and dropped the package of meat on the cutting board. The whisper continued, a low gurgling murmur that vibrated through the pipes. I unwrapped the meat and my fingers sank into it. It was cold, wet, slimy. The texture was exactly what you would expect from cheap ground beef, but there was something else. It was moving, not from my touch, not from me pressing it. The meat was rising on the board, pulsing like a living thing. I stared at it for a long moment. The whisper from the sink grew louder, almost excited. A sane person would have dropped the meat. A sane person would have run. But I wasn't sane. I was pissed. I grabbed the slimy, squirming mass with both hands. It throbbed against my palms, warm and alive, trying to squirm away from me. I walked to the sink and looked down into the dark drain. The whisper stopped for a second, then started again, hungrier than before. I said, "Shut up, eat this," and I shoved the entire lump of meat into the drain. The sound that came next was something I will never forget. It was wet, loud, greedy. A horrible sloppy chewing sound echoed up from the pipes. The sink vibrated under my hands. I watched the last bits of meat get sucked down into the darkness. The chewing continued for almost a minute. Then silence. Perfect, beautiful silence. I smiled. The sink was full, the sink was happy, the sink was quiet. But now I had no meat. I grabbed my jacket and walked out the door. The 24-hour convenience store was 3 blocks away. The street was empty, no cars, no people, no sound. I pushed open the glass door and a little bell rang above my head. The store was brightly lit, sterile, white floors, white shelves, white ceiling. And in the middle of it all there was a line, a long line. At least 20 people stood between me and the counter. But these were not people. They were shapes, tall, thin, completely still. Their skin was pale, almost grey like paper that had been left in the sun too long. Their faces had no expression, no life, no nothing. They just stood there, staring straight ahead, not blinking, not breathing. I looked at them and felt my jaw clench. I was tired. I was hungry. My kitchen was full of whatever that sink creature was. And now I had to wait in line behind a bunch of zombies. No, absolutely not. I walked past them. I didn't care. I went to the freezer section and grabbed 2 boxes of frozen burger patties. I shoved them under my jacket. The cashier didn't move. The line didn't move. No one stopped me. I walked out of the store. The bell rang again. I didn't look back. I got home and locked the door behind me. The kitchen was silent. The sink was quiet. Good. I turned on the stove and put a pan on the heat. I opened the box of patties. They were normal, frozen, flat, dead. Perfect. I cooked them until they were brown and crispy on the edges. I cut some lettuce. I sliced a tomato. I found a jar of pickles. I pulled out a bun and toasted it. I built the burger layer by layer. Bun, sauce, lettuce, tomato, pickles, cheese, meat, bun. It was beautiful. I took the plate to my bedroom. I got into bed, propped up my pillows, and balanced the plate on my lap. I opened my phone and scrolled to a video of kittens falling off a couch. I took a bite. The burger was good, warm, juicy, normal. I watched the kittens. I chewed, I swallowed. One video ended, another started. I finished the burger and licked my fingers. I put the plate on the nightstand. I closed my eyes. And I slept. That night, for the first time in weeks, I slept deeply. This story was found on the darknet, on one of the deepest forums. After this message, the person never appeared on the forum again. No one knows what happened to him. Probably nothing. This story turned out to be shitty, but that's okay. Subscribe to my channel, Creepy Dark Horror TV. In the next video I will try to find a better story for you.